Hi Tom, nice to see you again
Good to
at
see you.
WWDC. So what are the key takeaways from the keynote today?
Well, I think what Apple really tried to do was a couple of things. For starters, deliver on the promise of Apple Intelligence, something
Yeah.
that we heard about 2 years ago here at WWDC. It's taken them a bit longer to get here than they, I think, originally envisioned. But what we saw today was a bunch of features, including Siri AI, that are delivering on what Apple has long promised in terms of both generative AI and a more robust Siri.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think the promises they made 2 years ago took a bit longer. They last year they acknowledged they needed more time, but this year they finally are delivering on those promises and the features they announced around Siri, Apple Intelligence, Siri AI will basically allow users to have AI without even noticing they have AI. It's not like a standalone app that they need to click to get access to all the content. But there's also an app that
Right.
allows them to find whatever they do over the phone. One important topic of discussion after the keynote is the relationship around the foundation models that Apple has developed in partnership with Google. Can you tell a bit more about
Sure.
how that relationship works? What does it mean in reality for Apple, Siri AI, and Apple Intelligence?
Yeah, Apple went to great lengths, particularly after the keynote, to articulate that these are Apple foundation models. They're informed by Gemini technology and their relationship with Google, but the models themselves are from Apple. They announced a handful of new models today, some running locally, some running in their private cloud compute. And really, it's interesting to me. There's been much made about this partnership if Apple's leveraging Gemini and Google to catch up in AI, right? But what I really took away from today is that Apple is building the models that it needs to drive experiences for its end users. And I think more so than a lot of technology companies, Apple really cares about the experience. So right now in June 2026, most people are talking extensively about agents. Apple really didn't talk about agents today.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, in fact, in the session afterwards where we did a deeper dive on the architecture, they pointed out that the architecture will support agentic workloads, but it really wasn't a big part of the story today.
Yeah, no, it's really important to understand better that relationship and how Apple is working with Google, because there's a lot of criticism and opinions around, oh, the Siri is now the new Gemini, and it's not the case. Of course, Apple is using and working together with Google to leverage that technology around the LLMs, but everything feels like it's Apple technology being offered to end users through the features they announced.
And for Apple, one of the ongoing differentiators for Apple, I think, is their stance on privacy.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, those of us that have been leveraging Claude or OpenAI or any of the other various chatbots, those things are hoovering up as much information about us as they can. What's interesting about Apple's position is many people have been carrying those devices for years. So Apple knows more about its end users than almost any other tech company.
Than the end users themselves sometimes.
Yes, but what Apple really clicked on today and re-articulated in multiple occasions is the importance of privacy. And so even when they run an AI workload off the device, they're still running it in a secure place.
Yeah, that was very important to hear, especially from the session with Greg after the keynote, where he went into deep details about how the architecture works and the relationship between the models that run on device, and to make sure that no information is used outside the device, even by Apple. And that is really critical. Another important aspect of the keynote, of course, Apple Intelligence took the stage, but they also mentioned a lot about performance and the improvement in performance across the platforms. Can you?
Yeah, it was something that they really kicked the keynote off with an emphasis on them working across the various device categories to improve performance. The kind of things that whether it's an app launching, the animations inside the OS, they're just really working to continue to streamline and make the OS experience better. And the other thing that they did was they added a slider to the glass, which I think was something people were looking for. The way Apple sort of categorized.
They listened to feedback.
Yeah, they said, you know, we launch a new interface and then we listen to feedback and we iterate on it. And so what I think they did there was listen to what people had to say. They have made changes in terms of Mac OS, where Mac OS 26 was probably the most criticized, just in terms of the UI, and they put some work there to make some tweaks to make that OS look a little more refined.
One last question, and you do a lot of research on the enterprise side. How can organizations and the B2B segment benefit from the announcements that Apple made today?
Yeah, I think one of the things that we'll be watching very closely, right? This is a developers conference, and even though the keynote was a little light on developer information, what they closed out with is that they're making these features available to developers. And so I would expect that enterprises that are leveraging enterprise software that are running on Mac OS, on iOS, on iPad OS, will have the opportunity to leverage you know, Siri AI and Apple Intelligence inside their apps. And really that's where this, I think, becomes more powerful. As you kind of started this conversation, there is a Siri AI app where you can go and see the interactions you've had, but where AI is really powerful is when it's integrated into the apps that people are already using.
Yeah, that's going to be quite interesting. Thank you very much and see you soon.
Yeah, great to see you.
Thank you.